Hi guys, and welcome to our Premier League 2024-2025, mid-season review. So yes, I'm back with the boys. Oh, first video of the year on my channel, so Happy New Year, guys. Woohoo! 2025, here we are. Happy New Year. So yes, which usually is the first video of the year for my channel. I'm back with a mid-season review with the boys, so with James and Callum. No Luke, unfortunately. He is occupied with a family emergency. So it's just the three of us. Back in the old days, it was just the three of us. Oh, getting flashbacks to our uni days here. But anyway, so as always, we will talk about how we think the season has gone for all three of our teams. We will talk about bottom three, obviously change our relegation picks, change our top four picks. As per usual, I will put timestamps in the video description if you want to just get to a certain point. So let's get started then. So with, as always, James with Brighton and Hove Albion. So yes, James, how do you think it has gone so far? Now we are about more or less at the halfway mark of the current Premier League season. Take it
Yeah,
away.
it's it's one of those. We started so well. We beat Everton 3-0. I was at that game. Everyone was buzzing. We beat United in spectacular fashion. João Pedro winner. We drew with Arsenal. Um, we beat Newcastle. We beat Spurs 3. The Spurs game I think is one of my favorite games. 2 down at half time. Win 3-2. But it's just gone somewhere wrong in the last I think it's 6 draws and 2 defeats in the last 8 games, which isn't bad. Like there are worse teams, but 8 draws is not good. And we lost 3-1 to our rivals Palace, which did hurt quite a bit. And one of the big things that's gone wrong is Welbeck. Welbeck was in scintillating form. He got 6 goals in the first 8 games, I think it was. And then he's injured. He was injured since then. And I was watching the Arsenal game, and without Welbeck, we have not won a single game. So you can clearly see he is a striker. Pedro is not a striker. Pedro is a number 9. He is behind the striker. We played Villa on the 31st, and Pedro started up top, and he was okay, but wasn't great. But then Ruta came on up top. Pedro came behind him, and Pedro just better, just drifting in and out of the wings and behind the striker, and he seemed like a better player. Um, Pedro's been great. Um, he's not here, can't defend himself. It was a pen yesterday. That's all I'm saying. It was a pen. Arsenal fans, come at me. But it's. I'd say if you told me beginning of the season we'd be 10th, I'd be okay. I'd be happy. We're not bottom near the bottom of the table and stuff. We're not United. We're doing pretty well. We just ever since we got Europa League, our fan base has become a we must be here, we must be here. But hang on a minute, we've only been in the Premier League for under 10 years. We're still a relatively new club to the Premier League. We're still relatively punching above our weight. One season in Europe. So if you told me at the beginning of the season we'd be 10th now, that'd be great. But we need to kick on now for the rest of the season. We need to get some more wins. I think getting all back fit would be great. Ferguson's going on loan somewhere, which is bizarre. I don't know why we're going to get rid of Ferguson. Potentially go to Arsenal on loan. Rutter looks great. Minter's been great. Matoma's been okay. Dinger's been good. Backline, Dunk's been good. Van Hecker's been our best player in my opinion. Defensively, I think he's been absolutely solid. I think, in my opinion, he's one of the best centre backs in the league. Not the best, but one of the best, I'd say, in terms of his recovery, his pushing forward, his ball work. I think he's been our best player by far. Him and Belieber. I think Belieber's one of the best midfielders in the league. One of the best. So yeah, I would say I'm happy with how this season's been going on. Where we go from here, it depends on how fitness goes and stuff like that. Results. I would like a run in the cup. We got Norwich on Saturday. I would like to get a good run in the cup. I think Herzler would like a run in the cup. So He'll put a strong squad out for them. Maybe a couple of youngsters, but end of the season, I think I said we're going to come seventh. I think I'm going to say if fifth is getting Champions League, which seems likely, then seventh or eighth will get Europe. I'm going to stick my seventh. I think we'll kick on. I think we'll get someone's going to spark into life. I think Pedro's going to be a different beast second half for the season. If we get Welbeck back, the Premier League is toast. So, yeah, he's hoping for the second half of the season.
Yeah, I feel like I've said this several times about Brighton now in previous videos, but you literally are the draw kings. I mean, so a few seasons ago, I was like Brighton got the most draws, and looking at the table now, yeah, 10 draws. That's the most out of any other team. I think. Yeah.
Some of those draws have been horrible. Like we were
Mm,
2-0 up against Wolves, drew 2-2, drew 2 up
mm,
against Leicester, drew 2-2.
mm.
You know,
Yeah,
games we should have won. Like Leicester, we were even Wolves, we were 2-0 up at the 85th minute and we drew 2-2. It was just I don't know if it's luck or just can't close a game or I don't know. It's one of those. It's horrible.
mm.
But
Okay. Well, I'll go with my Brighton prediction then for the end of the season. He's played really good football, and that draw against Arsenal, I think you should have gone on and won it at the end.
yeah,
If you can play like that without just like you said, the disappointing draws, definitely top 10. So I'm going to say right now eighth for Brighton, which I think is a very respectable finish.
I'd take that.
Yeah, and like you said, a run in the Carabao Cup. Yeah.
The FA Cup.
FA Cup.
Oh, Carabao. Sorry, yeah, Carabao
You're out
Cup.
that one.
Oh yeah, sorry, I got mixed up. Yeah, it's the semi-finals. Yeah, but the FA Cup. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, yeah. Callum.
Yeah, I mean, Brighton are a very well-run club. They've got a lot of good players. Like Minte, I'm so upset that he didn't get a chance to play for Newcastle because since he's gone to Brighton, every time I've seen him on Match of the Day, he's just like yesterday when he ran straight
He
past.
loves a
I
good
think it
run.
was Calafiori, and he just run in and put that ball across, and no one could get it. And it was like he's got so much pace. It was, oh man, I still wish he was here. But yeah, I mean, Adingra, like Ayari, you've got João Pedro's, you've just got a lot of Matoma, all those players that are really capable of quite a lot of good stuff. Your defense is quite solid, like you said. Baleba, it could be that next person that you sell for, like 60 plus whatever £1 million you want to sell one of those people for. I just think it's so competitive in that sort of fourth to ninth spot at the moment.
Yeah.
And I mean, in my predictions for that, I'm just thinking, where do I think Brighton can push those into it? And I'm thinking where they are now, it depends how consistent, teams like Forest and Bournemouth.
Who would have seen that coming? Who would have seen Forest in Champions League spot? Who'd have seen Bournemouth in the Europe? It's one of those like ever since you and Villa push into the top four places, everyone seems like we can do it now. You've really pushed the top six, and now we did it as well, and so now everyone's having a crack at it. Even Fulham are doing great.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think what are they ninth? Are you 10th at the moment? Then
We're
ninth,
10th.
or is it that? Yeah. So, yeah, it's difficult. I think I'm going to put you in ninth. I think. It's just because of how competitive it is, and I mean, I don't know what I suppose we'll come to predictions for European places, but I'll just stick you in ninth now. It's a safe mid-table finish for how it's been this season. I think that's about right for Brighton.
For a first season for a manager who's only really experienced in the second month, I'd take a top 10 spot. And we build for next year.
Okay then. Thank you, James. Short and sweet as per usual. Thank you very much. We will see where Brighton are come the end of the season. Yes. Okay then, on to the Magpies. So Callum, I think you're going to be quite happy. Obviously, Newcastle currently fifth, 35 points after 20 games, only a point behind Chelsea, who are in fourth. It's looking very good. So take it away.
Well, it's looking good from the end of November to now, at least, because if we were doing this a month ago, I'd probably have been a bit more annoyed about how things had gone because we were 12th at the end of November. It was a really inconsistent start to the season. we had a draw against Bournemouth, which to be fair is nothing to be upset about because Bournemouth are performing quite well. But we lost to West Ham. We lost to Brentford before we went on this good run, and they're pretty good to be fair. But it's just it was draws and a couple of losses, and we were inconsistent. We couldn't string wins together for a while. I mean, I don't know what happened exactly, but from the start of December to now, we haven't lost a game. Well, I think Brentford might have been the start of December, which we lost, and then since then, we've gone on to beat Villa at St James's Park. We've beaten United at Old Trafford. We beat Spurs at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium yesterday to put us on 35 points. I wasn't in the prediction video at the start. Well, some of my predictions were, but the files kept corrupting, so it didn't work. But I did actually predict Newcastle to finish in fifth, and we are in fifth at the moment. So my prediction's running quite true here. We've got the sort of the third or fourth best defence in the league in terms of goals conceded. I think Liverpool and Arsenal are maybe joint second, and I think someone's in first. But considering we've had to play Dan Burn, not against Dan Burn. Dan Burn's James knows. But considering Sven Botman was out for 10 months with his ACL injury, and we've had to put Dan Burn in there and stuff like that, the fact that we've had one of the best defenses in the league so far is something to not to push over. But I don't think we're really, besides losing to Brighton and losing, I don't think Brentford are in the top 10 right now. We lost to Chelsea in the league, but beat them in the cup. We haven't actually lost to anybody else really in the top 10. We've drew with Liverpool, we've drew with City, we've beat Spurs, we've beat United, we've beat Forest as well, and they're obviously high flying. We're only 2 points behind them, 5 points behind Arsenal. I'm not saying that we're going to push to be second place in the league or anything, but I'm saying it's there. Personally, and this is going to sound crazy, and I know it might just be because of the run that we're on at the moment, but I'm thinking we're 2 or 3 quality signings away from having a team which can challenge for the title. And I'm thinking, a right winger, someone who's, I can't crap on Jacob Murphy this season. He's actually been really quality. But if it's someone like Brian and Burma who have been linked with, not going to be in January, maybe in the summer. Someone like I think his name's Bakayoko from PSV Eindhoven, someone like that who could come in and be like that. A right-sided centre back because Fabian Schär's getting a bit old. Someone like, we obviously were trying for Mark Gahey in the summer, we didn't get him. And then a goalkeeper, someone better with their feet than Nick Pope, who's obviously a bit clumsy and a bit lanky, stuff like that. So I don't know, really. I think we get a couple of signings in because if you think about the last 6 games, we're top of the table for form and points. And obviously that's hard to keep up for an entire season, but it proves that we can be doing it against the best teams. I think it's hard to argue against our midfield being one of the top midfields in the league because since Tonali come back from his ban, because of course, unfortunately, he was banned for 10 months last season, he's been playing a bit deeper and pushing Bruno and Joelinton a bit more forward. And if you're thinking about Joelinton, Sandro Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes, those 3 is in midfield. Like some of the football we've been playing, I was watching the Spurs game yesterday. That first half was like some silky football between those 3, off to the wings to Gordon and to Murphy. And then Isak is just by far the best all-round striker in the Premier League. You can look at Haaland and say in terms of goal scoring, he's probably better. But Isak's pace, his ball control, things like that. I guess someone like Darwin Núñez might be quite similar to Isak in terms of the way that they are, but not in the output and not in the the not better than. You can argue obviously, but I think best all-round striker in the league, Isak is that. Livramento and Lewis Hall as our fullbacks. They're the England fullbacks for the next 10 years. And they play for Newcastle. They're both in the England squad and have been, well, at least they were with, what was his name, Lee Carsley for his fixtures. Thomas Tuchel was at the game yesterday. Livramento had such a great game yesterday. It was on fire. I just think, we've really kicked on since the end of November. So it'll be really interesting to see where we go. Obviously, it's January. I think PSR is still hanging its head over us. We might sell Almiron. It looks like he's leaving in this window to somewhere. Dubravka is supposedly leaving to go to Saudi, although obviously he's been in our starting lineup for the last 6 or 7 games while Pope's been injured, and he's only conceded 1 goal. So I think it's a bit of a thing for him to go. But then, of course, if we do get someone in like James Trafford for the future of his goalkeeper, that'd be good. Longstaff might go. We've got a lot of cover in midfield, so if someone's going to leave, it could be him. Trippier's only got over a year left on his contract, but again, he's good for. I think I think our squad is. People were calling for Eddie Howe to be sacked like before our good run of games started. Some kind of crazy Newcastle fans. But I mean, considering yes, okay, we've got Isak and we've got a quality midfield, but we're playing Dan Burn and Fabian Schär as our 2 centre-back pairings, who we could have had at the club before takeover. Dubravka was our keeper before the takeover. Murphy and Longstaff, they've been there since for God knows when. Well, Longstaff's an academy player, so he's been there forever. It just shows what kind of a what kind of a coach he is. We haven't had that many injuries this season either, so that's been good for us as well. Really, if maybe we do some signings in January, maybe we don't, but if we keep the form up that we're doing, I think it's going to be hard. It has been hard for people to be. I mean, we've lost 5 games in the season, but none of them have been against, kind of high Big Six clubs as it is so far. I know, obviously, the second half of the season we'll have to play Liverpool again, Arsenal again, stuff like that. But we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I think it's a good time. As I always say, it's a good time to be a Newcastle fan. It is now, obviously, that we're getting back up towards the top end of the table. But yeah, hopefully carry on. We've obviously got the Carabao Cup semi-final against Arsenal. The first leg at the Emirates, I think it is, on Tuesday, and then obviously the return fixture at St James's Park in the start of February. Do I think we're going to progress? I don't know. I mean, Arsenal have some injuries, but if we progress, we progress. If we don't, then we've got to the semi-final, so it's still something. But yeah, I'm quite pleased. I'm quite proud. I mean, I'm always proud to be a Newcastle fan, obviously. But at this moment in time, we're doing a good job.
Yeah, very, very, very well said, Callum. So on to me and James. I think we'll just have a quick say where we think Newcastle will finish. On the current run of form you're on, there's absolutely no reason you can't get 4th or 3rd. Absolutely not. I think it's really tricky personally because, like I think you said before, 3rd to 9th is extremely tight. Only 7 points right now. This is obviously could be very wrong. Oh, because you just can't predict what's going to happen. City are bouncing back a little bit. Chelsea have had a little wobble. Forest have shocked us all. It's like, I'm going to put Newcastle right now 5th. Just missing out on Champions League, but I think it's going to be very tight with Chelsea. If Forest can stay up there, and of course, if City have got the form back, they're going to bounce back up there too. But yeah, Newcastle 5th. James?
Yeah, I'd probably say 5th as well. I think it's been a good end to the year for you guys. I think Hall has been fantastic. Isak is fantastic. Yeah, I think City will have a big resurgence. They always do. I think you'll just miss out. It might be like a case of like final day maybe. But I can see you guys going to the final of the Carabao Cup. I think you can beat Arsenal. I think you might lose. You'll probably play Liverpool. But
imagine
you
that.
Give them a game. Then give them a good game though. So I'd say 5th for Newcastle. I think you'd be happy with me. It'll be 5th, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Well, fifth place might be Champions League anyway.
It could be. Yeah.
We're thinking Liverpool, Villa, Arsenal all getting through to the next round. Man City getting through to the next round.
It's likely
it could possibly be likely we get 5th anyway, and it be Champions League. So I don't know. We'll see.
Definitely.
Oh, I'd definitely be down for a Liverpool Newcastle Carabao Cup final if we beat Spurs, obviously, if you guys beat Arsenal, or we get a North London derby final. Either way. Right. Okay then. So obviously with Luke not being here, but Callum I believe is going to read out his notes that he's left for us in the group chat. So just briefly going over Arsenal. So of course they're second on 40 points. But with people were saying they're chasing us for the title, but with a little wobble yesterday against Fulham, they've dropped a bit of ground. But they're still in a strong position, second with 20.
Brighton.
They played us.
Oh, sorry, with the 21 plus goal difference, they're having a very good season, I think. But they have a little wobble, but I still think Champions League places is definitely on the card for Arsenal. So just go over what Luke said then, Callum.
Yeah, it's only a couple of things. He said, Arsenal have been like a title challenge for the last 3 seasons or so now. He thinks this has been the worst of the 3 seasons that they've had. I've seen quite a few people saying, I think it was a Soccer Saturday thing, and it was like a prediction for Arsenal this year, and it was like Arteta will have 1 season next year to try and get himself back up there, and then he might not get much more of a chance. I don't, because of course, if you want Arsenal to win the league, they've had a couple of seasons where they've challenged and not been good enough, essentially. But there have been too many injuries for Arsenal this year. Odegaard's been out, Saka's out right now. I think Havertz is out. I think Ben White's out right now as well. So there's a lot of first-team Arsenal players that are missing through injury. Luke did want to point out the inconsistent refereeing, which I think might slightly refer to the headbutt by Saliba on João Pedro yesterday against Brighton. But again, there was refereeing is inconsistent in the league. That's just the way it is. Bit of a poor summer transfer window for Arsenal. I'm not really sure who they brought in and who they didn't. I know they brought in Sterling on loan, but I think he's injured, and I can't exactly remember who else. Mikel Merino came in as well. But again, maybe nothing that massively inspiring. But he does want to put a positive on the youngsters. So Ethan and Nwaneri, I think he's a right winger. I think he's came in 17. I think he's scored 2 goals in his 2 starts or something. But I think he's injured now. And then Lewis Skelly, who I think has been playing at left back, although I'm not sure if he's a centre mid or what he is. But he wanted to put some positivity on the youth. But yeah, just coming from me, Arsenal. Newcastle beat Arsenal, of course. I think again they are 5 points. Actually, no, they're only 3 points ahead of Forest now, aren't they? And Forest have to play, or is it 3? Is it 4? They have to play tomorrow, I think, on Monday Night Football, don't they? So they could get quite close to them tomorrow. I still think Arsenal will finish in second. I still think but I think spoiler, Liverpool are clear. I don't think they have much of a chance of catching them now. But yeah, that's what Luke's thoughts were on Arsenal this season.
Yeah, even though despite they have been a little inconsistent with, like you said, with those 7 draws, they've only lost 2 games, and they've got a very good goal difference up there with ours. I think they'll definitely get second, but like you said, constant second place finishes might not be enough for Arsenal fans. And Arteta might be under threat maybe next season if they continue being a bit inconsistent. But the injuries haven't helped, like you said. But they've got a very good squad, and when they get those players back, I think that's a very strong team. But yeah, I agree. I think they're going to get second. I think third and fourth and fifth, it's just a massive toss-up right now, heading towards May. But yeah, I'm going to say Arsenal will get second. James?
Yeah, I think second as well is pretty on for Arsenal. I think they are just. It's a marvel to see Arsenal this in the last few years because they've got I'd say they've got the 3rd best squad in the league behind City and Liverpool. I think they have some proper great players, not quite world class, but proper great players in their squads who are playing for their national teams, who are playing really well, but nothing to show for it. If they were winning an FA Cup or a Carabao Cup, like, okay, fair enough, they're not the one in the league, but they can get some cups. They've not won a FA Cup since, I think it was the lockdown year, 2021, 2020 maybe. So they've won 1 FA Cup in the last 4 or 5 years. And apart, great second place, but you don't get anything for second place. It's kind of a moot point, really. So I don't really understand what more they can do with Arteta if they're not getting anything else. So I think second is good. I understand the inconsistent referee stuff. The stuff with Veltman in our first game, kicking the ball, fair enough, that might have been a bad decision by the ref. But regardless, I think you can give us refereeing. Oh, sorry. If you were playing well, but they've been inconsistent, so you can't just blame it all on referees. So yeah, second. Sorry, we're gonna wrap it there.
Uh,
You can't blame referees all the time. You can some things, but in our first game, sorry, it's gone. But in our first game against them in the beginning of the season, they should have been us 2-3. We were a man down. No, we were a man down. But they could have won 2-3-4-1 against us, but didn't drew 1-1. That's not a refereeing problem, is it?
Okay, then on to Liverpool. I and many other Liverpool fans right now are
Mud.
very
Mud.
are very very happy right now. I mean, I don't think anyone, us neutral fans or rival fans, really had us in a title charge this season in Arne Slot's first season succeeding Jurgen Klopp. It's been incredible. You know, a lot of fans had us on maybe in a bit of a decline after the loss of Jurgen Klopp. You know, when we've seen it in other big teams when a very successful, very popular manager leaves who's been there for a long period of time, there's usually a bit of a transitional period or at a bit of a decline until the new manager or managers can get it right. But with Arne Slot, he's taken the mantle from Klopp and he's taken to it like a duck to water. You know, we've been fantastic for these opening 19 games. We've very rarely put a foot wrong. And I did say this in our season predictions that, you know, Slot has inherited a very strong squad that Jurgen Klopp has left him. He left the club in a very strong place, and people seem to forget. Last season, we were in a title race. Last season, it wasn't just top four. It was us, Arsenal and City, to like the last few games of the season where we fell off a little bit. So this was a team that wasn't a title race last season. And Slot's taken over it now. He's made a few tweaks here and there to the midfield, to the defence, and we just look incredible. So, yeah, 19 games in, where we're on 14 wins, 4 draws, and only one defeat, which was a very strange defeat to Nottingham Forest at Anfield, but that looked like a bit of a blip. But aside from that, it's been fantastic with a plus 28 goal difference. Um, so what can I say? Right. So I think a lot of comparisons have been made between like Slot's play style to Klopp's, and I think I have seen a bit of a difference these first 19 games. I think Slot does play like a calmer, slicker, more organised style to Klopp, but I think it works better with this team. You know, we look like a more calculated build-up play. Like for certain goals, there's like a lot, like 5, 6, 7, 10 passes from midfield back to the strikers, and then Slaughter. Josser the Slaughter, I call him, or Diaz or Gakpo, get it in, and it's looked fantastic. The midfield, I think, is much stronger this season than it was last. Gravenberch looks like a different player. You know, Klopp mainly had him on the bench as a squad player, but Slot obviously has seen something in him. And he's looked absolutely fantastic in that midfield alongside Jones, McAllister. Szoboszlai's been a bit hit and miss, but he's some games he's good, some games he kind of disappears. That's why I think Slot right now prefers Gravenberch, Jones, and McAllister as our midfield three. But although he does interchange sometimes with Endo coming in off the bench and Szoboszlai every now and then.
Harvey Elliott.
Oh yeah, Harvey Elliott's not played a lot. I think he's been injured though, sadly, but he's come back now. Yeah, played a few minutes today. The attack, well, we knew the attack was strong under Klopp too, but under Slot, it's looked just as strong, if not even better. Diaz has been fantastic, 8 goals. Gakpo with a beauty today against Man United with his 6 goals. But the big talking point, Mohamed Salah, has been incredible. He looks like a brand new player. I don't know where's this come from? I mean, we all knew he was always world class, of course he was, but maybe last season there was a bit of a goal drought, and maybe we were starting to think, is his best days behind him? Is a Salah on the decline now? But this season, 18 goals and 10 assists. We're not even half. We're just halfway through the season now. That's world class. People are saying he could be nominated for a Ballon d'Or if this continues. He could be on 25, 27 goals come the end of the season. We'll see. So Salah looks incredible. Just hope we can get that contract sorted. Um, Not a lot more to say really, because it's some good results. Obviously, I'll just go over some good results. Beating Man United 3-0 away at the beginning of the season was great. 2-1 win over Chelsea at Anfield. Man City 2-0 at Anfield. That was a big one. Obviously, but that was when they were on that torrid run Man City were on. Spurs, we did an incredible 6-3 away win. That kind of reminded me of how we played under Klopp, with just crazy back and forth. Smashing West Ham 5-0. A little bit disappointing today against Man United. We weren't at the races for like the first 60 minutes, but we turned it back on and we got a draw. But this Man United team, what, 14th, 13th, shouldn't be dropping 2 points to them. But yeah, we weren't quite at it today. But hopefully we can get back to winning ways next week. We're still in the FA Cup. We're still in the FA Cup. We've got Accrington Stanley on the weekend. League Cup semi-final against Spurs, and it's looking very strong in the Champions League too. We're top of that ridiculously big new format Champions League table, but we're top of it, so can't complain. Us and Aston Villa are doing very well in the Champions League. So it's looking like this could be a really strong, very strong first season under Arne Slot. And so to finish off, I don't want to get carried away like we're going to win the league because we're only halfway, and under Klopp several times we were halfway, we were top halfway, and City caught us up, but it just feels different this time because City have had a massive decline. Arsenal have been inconsistent. Nottingham Forest, I think they'll have a little wobble at some point. So I think as long as we don't get complacent and we don't take our foot off the gas in the second half of the season, I think we definitely can win that Premier League title and win a 20th Premier League title to shut up all those Man United fans. So us and Man United will both be on 20. And it'll be great to win the league at a packed Anfield as well, because the season we won the league 2020, obviously it was COVID, so it was an empty Anfield. So that will be fantastic. But like I said, to finish off, for Arne Slot to win the league in his first season at the club, despite obviously being left a world-class squad, still I think is an incredible achievement. Because Klopp's last season, he had this squad, and we got third and a Carabao Cup. So not to say that's not a bad season by any means, but if Slot obviously can improve on that with more or less the same team, that's a massive kudos to him. So yeah, guys, that's all I've really got to say, and hopefully I'll be very happy come May. So anything you guys want to add before we get on to top four and bottom three?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I was saying yesterday. You have a game in hand against Everton because that one was called off because of the wind, of course. So
it was bad.
Yeah. Given how that is, you can be 11 points ahead of Arsenal. I think it is when you beat Everton. Let's be honest, I'm not sure they're going to do anything against you. And then, of course, how inconsistent they've been and the injuries that they've got, at least for the next couple of weeks. I think it's going to be very difficult for you to lose 4 games, considering you've only lost 1 in the first half of the season so far, and for them to win every other game this season. I'm not sure it's going to happen. And then, as you say, Nottingham Forest aren't going to be challenging for the title. No. And Chelsea, Newcastle, everyone's too far behind. I mean, I think Newcastle are 10 points behind? No, after today, I think it's 11 or something. So even then, it's like it's not exactly going to be an easy task for anyone to catch up with you. So I think we can probably, for the first time, safely say that Liverpool are quite confidently going to win this league. And I don't want to say I'll bet my house on it, because actually that would probably be silly. But I think it's a pretty surefire thing. But also, because I predicted Liverpool to be third. I think because Arne Slot coming in, Klopp's been there for how long was Klopp there for? Like 9-10 years, something like that.
Oh, about 9 years, yeah.
And I think it's like with a coach like that leaving and someone else coming in to take his place, it's very difficult to possibly. But actually, it seemed quite straightforward for him. Like you say, Gravenberch has been played at CDM. He's been a bit of a revelation in that position. So yeah, I mean, it's obviously nice to see someone else. I mean, Man City without Rodri have been pretty dreadful. Actually, they were on a game of, I think it was it 1 win in 13 or something in all competitions. I think it was, and that's just crazy for Man City. And so they've helped you by having their bad form. Arsenal with their inconsistency. So, again, it's not really been that competitive for you so far. Whether that changes in the second half of the season or not, who knows? But, credit to Liverpool. They're probably going to quite confidently and securely finish the league in first, to be fair.
All right.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think Liverpool are going to bang on to win the league. I think you're lucky that City have had a disastrous season. I think if they hadn't, it'd be tight. and it would be too close a call, but I think you'd definitely put yourselves ahead, and that's a credit to yourselves as much as discredit on City. Like you guys have, one loss all season is incredible in all competitions. So hats off to you guys. You'll continue it. I can't see you guys dropping off. Out of curiosity, Adam, if you could only have out of the 3-day out contract, Trent, Van Dijk, and Salah, only one player can stay. Who would you pick? Would it be Salah?
Only one player could stay.
Yeah,
theoretically.
Trent, Van Dijk, and Salah.
Well, I think it's pretty set on Salah and Van Dijk are going to re-sign. So right now, I think Trent's probably. I think it's looking very likely they're going to
Trent's going to
re-sign.
Madrid, most likely. Yeah.
But
I think Van Dijk's the most likely to stay.
No, Van Dijk and Salah are definitely staying. I don't want to get bogged down too much in this because we've got other things to talk about. But I think Van Dijk and Salah are definitely going to stay. But I think Trent's probably the most likely to leave, especially after today's performance. That didn't help.
Did you hear Roy Keane on the thing? He said, Trent's talking about going to Real Madrid. With that defensive performance, he's going to be going to Tranmere Rovers. That was so funny. He was hilarious.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah. Oh, I mean, Trent is world class. He just had a bit of a stinker today against Man United, but I think he's probably the most likely to go because he's a lot young. He's like 5, 6, 7 years younger, and maybe he'll want to go to Real Madrid. But we'll see. We'll talk about that obviously in our season predictions next year. Oh, Trent's gone.
Yeah, they're gone by then. Yeah.
No, but I'm like Conor Bradley. Come here.
It's a good stand-in for him anyway. I have to say that.
He'll do you well.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about that if and when it happens. But yeah, like to answer James's question, I probably would say Trent's the most likely to go. Yeah.
Fairs.
Okay, so we will do top 4 predictions. I'll do this quite quickly then. So my top 4, obviously, Liverpool, Arsenal. I think Man City are going to get third. I think because they've won 2 games now, obviously against bottom half teams, but I think they look like they're shaking off that awful run, and they'll probably get back into the top 4. So yeah, City will get third, and I think Nottingham Forest are going to just get fourth because they've been incredible this year. They're currently on the best form. They've won the last. I think up there with Newcastle, their form has been incredible.
Yeah.
And Nuno. Espirito Santo, he can take a bow. Did anyone have Forest doing this well this season? I had them to go down. So, yeah, I'm going to get it's very tight. Because like obviously Callum said, with Chelsea, Newcastle, and if Aston Villa can get back up there as well, it's going to be very tight. But I think Forest will just get fourth by like maybe one point. And I've got Chelsea getting fifth. Yeah. James?
I'll agree. Liverpool first, Arsenal second, City third, Chelsea fourth. I think Forest will have a bit of a blip. I think they come like 6th or 7th, maybe.
Okay.
Liverpool first, Arsenal second, City in third. Because I feel like, I mean, to be fair, watching Match of the Day yesterday, the pundits seemed to think there was still a lot of rather poor defensive errors from City, and West it kind of flattered the scoreline really. West Ham were actually not that bad, but I think they're obviously going to kind of get back there. I think Chelsea obviously, and to be fair, I predicted Chelsea to finish fourth at the start of the season. I don't think anyone really else would have had them up there. But Maresca's done a really good job with Chelsea, but they have the last 5 games kind of stagnated a little bit. For that reason, I'm going to put Newcastle in fourth. I mean, obviously, like, I could have put them there, but even if you finish 5th and it's still Champions League places, I'll still take it. So probably put Chelsea into 5th, and then Forest in 6th is probably what I'll go for. And then somewhere, down there, maybe the last European places between Villa and Bournemouth, and and probably somewhere down there, because I think Bournemouth could stay there. Maybe Brighton, if they push themselves up, that might be a close battle for the Conference League places, but I don't know. We'll see.
Don't forget Fulham, they're 9th.
Yeah, it'd be Villa, Bournemouth, Fulham, Brighton, I'd say, for that last space.
It's very, very tight. And if Tottenham, forget about Tottenham.
Can we just chat quickly about how Tottenham are 12th, and how Manchester United are 14th or 13th? What happened there?
Big 6, Big 6, isn't it?
I mean, to be fair to Man United, the way they played against us today, you would not think they were 13th. They were better than us for like two-thirds of the game today, but I think that's just because obviously the rivalry, they turned up for the big occasion. But yeah, all the majority of things, Tottenham and Man United are having pretty bad seasons, yeah.
I can't imagine Postecoglou is going to be around for much longer. If he,
No.
at least not at least maybe to the end of the season or something. But they're poor Tottenham. He's very stubborn. He won't change anything really. I mean, I know they've got a lot of injuries and that doesn't help. But
injuries, Tottenham, haven't they? Quite a lot, yeah.
Daniel Levy is known to be a bit of a short fuse sometimes. I think he might, if things are getting better, he might pull the trigger. But
Sorry.
I'm so confused.
Yeah, Southampton are going to finish bottom. They might even break Derby's record.
They
for the
will
least
break
amount of
Derby's record.
points.
I can see it, which angers me more that we drew with them.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, I mean, their new manager doesn't fill me with confidence. It looks like some. It looks like I don't really. I don't even know who he is. To be fair, I can't remember his name. Know what his name is. He's just been plucked out of nowhere, and I think they played a little bit better against. I can't remember who it was they were playing last week. They had a few chances, but I'm not sure they're gonna stay around. I also don't think Leicester are going to stay. I think
for me, I don't think my relegation is Southampton, Leicester, and I think Ipswich will stay up. I think it'd be Wolves. Southampton, Leicester, and Wolves.
I think Southampton, Leicester, Everton.
Ooh.
Because Everton haven't scored in 5 games.
Okay.
And I mean, to be fair, if anyone's going to save Everton, it's obviously Pickford in goal because he makes about 17 saves per game.
Yeah.
And then Iliam Ndiaye because he's obviously like their kind of playmaker, the one that pulls them through. So I don't know. It's obviously close between in the last spot for Everton, Ipswich, Wolves, Palace haven't really been great so far.
Yeah.
They're still down there, but I don't think they'll go down. But I think Everton have just had too many scares. They just need to go, and they need to end up. They need to be in the Championship for their new massive stadium next year.
I mean, it's their final season at Goodison. How sad would that be if they go down? Their final season at
They've
Goodison.
never been relegated from top flight before, and they go down. It'd just be.
But I mean, I'm not complaining. I honestly think it would be the best thing I honestly think it would be the best thing that could happen to them because then they could rebuild themselves in the Championship.
Yeah, first.
Anyway, so I'm very similar to your guys. Southampton going down 6 points is just disastrous. could they equal Derby's tally or get worse than? We'll see. But it's not looking good for them. Leicester, Van Nistelrooy, they had that new manager bounce for like 1 or 2 games, but then since then they've gone back down. Ipswich, they've turned a bit of a corner, haven't they? Like you guys said, with their back-to-back wins. Although then they got a tight draw today against Fulham, so I think they'll just stay up. Wolves, they've got a new manager coming in, haven't they? They had a good draw against Tottenham. So
Cunha will save them. Cunha, if anyone will save them.
Well, Cunha's signed a new contract, or he's signing a new one as of today, I think. So
yeah.
I was quite surprised. I thought he might have gone to, a Big Six club might have tried to poach him, but he's going to save them if anything.
There must be relegation clause in there somewhere.
So yeah, I think Wolves stay up. So obviously that leaves Everton. I think
that's because you want them to go down.
That. Yeah, I think partly because I want them to go down, but also partly just look at they've scored 15 goals. 15 goals. That's just relegation form right there. They can't score to save their lives. I mean, they've got Beto, Calvert-Lewin, and who else? Oh, yeah. And they can't score. They can't score. So I just think in that if they can't get any goals, they're going down. And I think their first season in their brand new stadium by the Mersey will be in the Championship.
Could you imagine? Oh, what a disaster!
That'd be so funny. Go on, Everton. Get down. Right.
As if they don't have money problems as it is. I think that would honestly ruin the club.
I mean, the parachute payments might help them, but.
Well, they've got new owners, haven't they? Quite rich new owners, so I think that'll help. But yeah, anyway, we'll talk about this more obviously at the end of the season and see what that bottom three looks like come May. Right then, lads, that concludes our mid-season review. It's been a pleasure, as always. Good footy chat with the lads, can't beat it. So we'll see what the next few months brings for all three of our teams, and of course Luke as well with Arsenal. We'll be back probably mid to late May, whenever the season finishes, maybe a day or two after the season finishes, with obviously our season review in about 5 months' time. So, yeah, lads, thank you all for joining me, and we will see you all in several months' time come the end of the season. Okay. Bye, lads.